Hi again, everybody. Hi Ho Silver here. I am sitting in the bunker deep in the woods of the Pacific Northwest after what's been a really fun day of melting and pouring my own silver for the very first time. Today, in the second part of the Bunker Bullion series, we'll take a look at that and talk about some of the things I learned. So I went to the Home Depot with those gift cards that I got as part of my kickback, and I picked up the rest of the stuff I needed, like safety goggles and gloves, etc. Well, here's 1 ounce of .999 silver shot. This is the first time I've done anything. I'll kind of narrate my way through it. It's pretty simple. You light the torch here, and you put it in, and then you turn the torch, this other torch on, and it lights from the flame of the first torch. I should mention, this is the quick kiln kit. I really like it. I think it's a really good way to go. I'll explain some of the things I like about it as we go. So here's what it looks like at about 5 minutes. And I kind of wanted to make sure I checked, because I wanted to know pretty much just when it's going to be ready, so I don't overburn, and that should save the crucible. I should be able to get more melts out of it. So you see the crucible is nice and hot. I think the capacity on this is about 4 ounces. I've only got 1 ounce in there to start with. And here it is, fully melted at 8.5 minutes. So now I'll put it back in there, and I'm going to heat up the mold. I bought several different molds, and I'll explore them as the day goes on. I heated it for about 30 seconds. I like this MAP torch for that. It burns hotter than propane, so it heats faster. Well, here it is. This is the very first attempt. It's very simple, guys. One of the most important parts is grabbing it there on that far side and then tilting. I'm attempting to pour 1 ounce into a 5 ounce mold, and that was not all that impressive. But what's cool, that kiln just stays hot. You drop it back in and melt it up again. It really doesn't take long at all to remelt. So now this is the second attempt. Same basic technique. I did kind of think this through. I have several questions that I want to have answered in this first attempt. One of them is, do I need to use flux when I'm melting .999 fine silver? The answer to that question turned out to be both yes and no. It looks pretty good here on the back side. But the front side, the top side of the pour, looks terrible, and that has something to do with that question of flux. So I'm going to go in here and melt it for the third time. Again, about 3 minutes later, come in here for the pour. I've been reheating the mold each time. Okay, now that one, this the third pour, went real smooth. Came out, you could tell as I was pouring it, nice and smooth, and both the backside and the top side on this look great. At this point, I had decided that this will be the first one I keep. This is 1 ounce. I need to go weigh it and make sure that I put enough extra in the crucible when I poured it, or when I melted it down. You do lose just a teeny bit. I put 1.006 troy ounces, but when I weigh it here, it's underweight, which is because this little bit here was still left in the crucible. That plays a role in the next about an hour of kind of testing things. This next pour, this is the 4th pour, I wanted to find out, okay, I'm just going to make sure I pour everything out this time and see how that happens. You can tell when I pour there's a slight hesitation right before the very last bit. That's where any imperfections would be, if there are any, and there are some. So since there is some either dust or something in that silver, I'll have to learn how to deal with that without flux. I really don't want to use flux. I decided on this pour I was going to stop short and keep any of the impurities in the crucible. By doing that, I was able to create this beautiful prototype for exactly what I want my bunker bar to look like. You see here, I stopped before that last little bit came out. Geez, that's amazing. This pour was just ideal. I believe it's just my 4th pour, and it's exactly what I wanted. You can just see, that's just, the properties of this metal are incredible. And here you can see how those pour marks, those ripples are formed as the metal moves back and forth as it cools. So I instantly knew when I poured that this one is gonna be a neat bar, and it really is. This is the character that I want for the bunker bar. Old school. I love the poured ripples there, and I love all of that texture on the backside. So it really didn't take me long at all to get to the end product that I desired. And then I spent the rest of the afternoon, the rest of the morning figuring out just how to deal with those impurities, because I don't want to use flux. So I kind of have 2 choices at this point. If I want it to weigh exactly what I would say, like an ounce, then I've got to pour all of it in. That means I'm not going to get that amazing look that I got on the one that I stopped short when I poured. So I think I'll most likely, at least for this first round, kind of just really go for the most beauty I can get, and then stamp the actual gram weight on the product. A lot of companies used to do that, Nevada Coin Mart for one. So it'll have odd numbers. Let's wrap it up. A great first day of pouring. I got this prototype. That's gonna be mine. That'll be number 1 of 1. The hi-ho bar. Beautiful. And now I need to go about learning how to make a bunch more of those. I tried about 7 or 8 different molds. I've got about 5 or 6 more coming in the mail. And I'll just keep tweaking until we find something that is beautiful and I can pass on to my friends. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. Tune in for part 3 coming soon. Take care, everybody. See you again.